to episode 107 of 2000. No, nice background number there, Kristen. Um, it is time for episode 107 of 2000 Hangouts here today on the 26th of May 2023. Me? Oh, can you hear me, Kristen?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay. Nice background. Hello there, Kristen.
Oh,
Nice
hello.
background you have, by the way. That real fortunate background you have.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, let me just change it to this. All right, there we go. Now you can hear me better. Oh, I'm sorry about that echo.
Oh, you're all good.
Um, all right, now you can hear me better because I changed to my phone because my computer for some reason wasn't working. Hello there, Dominic, Williams. It's episode 107, and we are back doing interviews here on the W1000 Network here on Chilling3000 Hangouts. Kristen, tell everybody about yourself, if you may.
Well, I'm Christian Dixie. I'm 22 years old from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I was a two-time former Wheel of Fortune contestant.
Yes, two-time Wheel of Fortune contestant back in 2020, and just recently this month for Fan Favorite Week.
Yes.
Um, and what do you do for a living?
I am a package handler at FedEx warehouse.
FedEx. All right.
Yes.
What do you What do you do at FedEx? Like, what is your main job over there?
So my main job is to help unload the packages off of the trailers that come in and put them on the conveyor belt for them to process the packages. And yeah, um, that's essentially what I do. That's my main
Okay.
job.
And hello there, back as well. So, how did you get into being a huge Wheel of Fortune?
So I started watching Wheel of Fortune during season 19. It was 2001, 2002. I was 9 months old at the time, and my grandma had sat me in front of the TV, and Wheel of Fortune happened to be on. And so I was really drawn into it, and my love for it had grown over the years. And I would um, watch the show a lot, and I still do to this day. and yeah,
100% watch every day. That's why Wheel of Fortune. We met around 2020 on at noon, like on Discord, etc. How did you get to the YouTube thing?
oh, I'm sorry, what was that? I was kind of cutting out.
Oh, I was saying, you've been part of the YouTube Pixel community for a while. How did you get into the community, like on Discord and such?
Oh, how did I the Discord community?
Yeah, for
Oh, the game show. Okay. I'm honestly trying to remember how I got into the game show community within Discord. I believe it was from one of the servers. I believe it was Game Show Emporium. Um, that was one of the first game show servers on Discord that I had joined. I'm also part of Wheel of Fortune Cafe, um, among some other Wheel of Fortune Discord servers, along with along with Bioval boards. Um, and yeah.
Um, so what made you decide to watch sports? How was the first like a fun?
I'm sorry. What was the experience like the first time around?
Yeah, like the first time around Twilight 2020. How what?
Uh, yeah. So the first time around, my experience was just it was surreal. The first time being there, um, that my lifelong dream had come true of being on the show and just being able to just be on the set. And I hadn't gotten to spin the wheel or do anything yet, and it was so surreal. I felt like I was in heaven. I felt like um, that my late grandma was there with me,
Yeah,
um, and I had was a little nervous because um, I I practiced and played the video game versions of Wheel and the home versions and the phone app versions, and was kind of just questioning, like, am I gonna do good on stage, just like I do at home. um, and once I had gotten the first, I think after I got multiple choice questions in round one, that was really when I had started to get comfortable with playing on stage, in front of the audience and everybody. And yeah, in the long story short, like, I ended up winning 28,000, almost 29,000 cash and prizes. I won a trip to Barbados that was worth almost $8,500. Um,
uh,
and and then I went to the bonus round and I solved Wavy Ocean with just the E and the N. Now, Wavy Ocean, I had knew from the E and the N that it was Wavy Ocean. I had already knew that it was Ocean with just the E and the N, where it was placed, and the category being placed, and knowing ahead of time that they would put an adjective um, along with it to try to trick me, um, like they've done with contestants in the past. And so I was thinking of adjective or things that were associated with the ocean, and I thought of waves immediately, but I did logical deductions and it can't be wave because the E is already in ocean. And so I was like, okay, what's something that's relatively close to that? And I was like, wavy with a Y. And so that's why I ended up choosing CWVA. um, and C was kind of like my placeholder letter because I was trying to buy out a little bit of time to pick my letter choices. Um, and yeah, I solved that puzzle, won 37 grand. Um, in the bonus round, the season minimum at the time, and then I won almost 66 grand.
yeah. That's it. Um, my next question is, um, what was like the thing that first taste? How not for you to make on sports was the one so far?
It was kind of cutting out. What was it? What was Pat Sajak like?
No, I was saying how long did it took for you to go into sports? Like week, oh, 1 week of sports. How long did it go to sports?
Nope. Uh-oh. It's kind of cutting out at times. Uh-oh. I can barely.
Let me put in a private chat.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah. I think that might be better. Yeah.
I put in the private chat.
How long was planning? How long was the planning on my first Wheel of Fortune? Okay. Yeah. Like the actual tape day or
Like just the penny channel, like traveling.
oh the traveling. Okay. So it was 2 weeks in advance prior to the tape date. Um, I had gotten a call from them in January 2020, um, and they had asked me if I wanted to come out, if I could come out to LA to be on the show, and I said yes. And so the planning for travel was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks um, between. We actually flew into LA the day before taping um, to ensure that we would, get to the hotel um, and everything. And so we got there the day before, and then it was Thursday morning. It was time to wake up and get ready for taping. And at the time, the contestants, this was before COVID, the contestants were shuttled from the studio or to the studio from the hotels um, that the contestants were staying at. Um, and so we got the studio at like about 7:30 in the morning. And so for those about 2 to 3 hours, we went through paperwork, we went through a whole rundown little production meeting with the contestant team and some of the lawyers as well, signing some stuff. And then we also went over the gameplay or some of the strategies. Um, and then we went out onto the set and then we started practicing spinning the wheel, getting a couple of rehearsal puzzles in, um, loosening up essentially. And then we also filmed the hometown howdy promos for the affiliate stations that would air wheel um, in our hometown. And then at around noon, it was time for the first episode to be taped. And beforehand, we would draw out of a bucket of who's in what position and what show they're being taped in, and so and they had chose team captains, and so I was the team captain for the group that I was in. I was playing against Emily and Tally. And so I picked the second taping, and I also picked the yellow position. Um, and so and then we had started taping at noon. So it was really nice to be able to watch, an episode before it was, my time to get on stage and play. Um, I felt like that was really beneficial. Um, and yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Um, I just got off. So the next question is, what was Pat and Vanna like?
oh my gosh, Pat and Vanna. Uh, Pat and Vanna. Pat is just very sweet. He's hilarious. Um, and he very very calming. Just like was very adamant about making sure the us as players were calm and relaxed throughout the entirety of the game, and reassuring us that just to have fun, that everything's gonna be okay and flow smoothly. Um, and he's very funny. He's very funny. Um, and
I
Vanna
got.
is just oh
I hate to interrupt you, but I gotta say this: if people think Pat Sajak is a jerk, he's not. He's a nice guy. Okay? You
yeah,
put that out there. The minute you can thank yourself for what you've done. Pat Sajak. He's a nice guy, funny guy, playing himself. Okay.
yes,
But,
he's like anybody who thinks otherwise. I don't really know what to
yeah.
say. He
Yeah.
really is he really is nice and funny, and like just it's like I don't get why people would want to bash him. Like,
Yeah. Ridiculous. Like, what do you ever do?
right. Hmm.
Um. What was the tape date for your first episode?
So the tape date for my first episode was on February 6th, 2020.
Okay.
So it was about a month and a little over a month before the air date, which was on St. Patrick's Day.
Yep. Um. I forgot you were the Patrick's Day one where you got like you were in the air song. When people say something describe people with the virus and everything else, positive feedback. How was your reviews? You had a positive with the happy, happy to watch, something to watch. You know, with the positive. Yeah. What was the
Was my reaction to the beacon of positivity?
yeah like
Okay. Yeah. I uh, I was shocked in a good way um, about that, and it really warmed my heart to have seen that Yahoo article the
yeah
next morning after my episode aired, and seeing that headline, and seeing it all over Twitter and Facebook and everywhere, and it just um, felt good to have been recognized on a national level for just being positive, even in the midst
yeah
of everything was like literally everything was shutting down or beginning to shut down at the time of the airing of my episode, and um, even even Wheel of Fortune and among Hollywood had to shut down too, and so I finding out that Wheel was going to be halting their taping and everything. I was just like, wow, like it just like really warmed my heart to have been a light in a dark time for a
yeah
lot of people.
like or or always describe to people from you know what um Wheel of Fortune.
It was breaking out. Put the question in the private chat.
Uh,
Oh wait, hang on. Oh, fan favorite week. Oh no, where'd he go? Hi guys. Oh, there you are. I was like, where'd he go?
uh, uh, how did you get on the fan favorite week of your of Wheel of Fortune? So
Okay, there we go. Now I can hear you.
okay,
It
there
was
we go.
cutting in and out. I was like, oh.
Yep.
So for fan favorites week, I was reached out by Wheel of Fortune about that on February 16th. Um, and they had asked me um, if, hey, we're putting together fan favorites week. Um, we're inviting back some memorable contestants. The contestant department told us to reach out to you and ask if you're interested. And I said yes. Um, and so they had initially, at the time, they had told me that um, we're gonna try to see if we can. It was almost like a last minute thing because it was close to the end of the taping for season 40.
Yeah.
So it it was they're like, okay, we might have to push it back to season 41 for it, but we'll keep you updated. And so they were able to fit it in. It's like, hey, we have a tape date. March 20th was the filming of that fan
Nice.
favorite episode. Yes. And ended up flying out there. Again, it took the travel planning for this one. It was, I want to say it was about a week or two,
Okay.
a week and a half for planning for that. We flew in on that Saturday. I stayed a little bit longer than I did the first time around. I only was there in LA for that one day or those 2 days, including
Yeah.
flying in the day before, and then we left the day, or we left after we flew back to Indiana after, um, and so it was nice that I got to stay for the entire. We stayed for the entire taping the day for the film day. So I got to see all the episodes and got to watch everybody play. Um, and I think out of all the fan favorite contestants, the one that I was really excited to meet was Caitlin Burke. Um,
Okay.
yeah. Um, and Emil, Caitlin, actually both Caitlin and Emil. Um, I was just starstruck when I saw Caitlin because I remember watching her episode, back in 2010, and seeing that one letter solve and just,
Yeah.
wanting, just like wanting to solve puzzles like that fast.
I've got a
And
good feeling about this.
yeah, yeah. And, it, it was just like really nice to meet her in person. And also it was really nice to see Emil there too, new baby buggy. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, with the trips you won back in your first show in 2020, how did COVID impacted those trips?
So COVID, usually, um, outside of COVID, non-COVID, you would have a year from the air date to take the trip. Um, but with COVID, it was 2 years out. They extended it.
Okay.
Um, Due to the resort and the Barbados having their own set of COVID policies and stuff, and also with the resort. I think the resort opened in October of 2021, but we weren't able to get dates um, until June, and I that's
Okay.
when my mom and I ended up going on that trip in
Nice.
June. Yeah.
Um, and back to your first show of 2020, how did your fellow students slash family members react to you to be on TV?
Oh my goodness. A lot of people were, my family members were extremely happy. And so were my friends and other family, um, especially my friends in particular, because I've always talked about wanting to be on the show for ever since I was young, really young, like 6 or 7 years old, and
Yeah.
yeah. And a lot of they're like, "Oh, I know a celebrity,"
Yeah.
and yeah.
You even have
Yeah.
that blue check mark on Instagram. I'm like, how did you get that? You put me on
Yeah. Yeah.
the But by the way, I do apologize for the technical difficulties that began the show. I'm at a different location, rather than my original studio. I'm with my grandparents, so that's why we had some technical difficulties earlier.
It's
But
okay.
it should be good now. I've experienced with air problems many times, so it's nothing new. Um, Now, out of your first or second time being on the show, which was more fun and why?
I want to say the second time around was more fun than the first time around. Not to take away from how fun it was the first time around, but
You were just more nervous, I assume, on your first taping.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely. But um, the second time around, there I was just really excited to see all the fan favorites. Like Jesse buying a new juicer, um,
yeah,
and Emil and Blair and Caitlin, everybody that got invited back, and I really hope that Will continues to do that. Every season for years to come and invite back other fan favorites. I honestly would love to see Robert Santoli come back and play. And
who's your favorite? Who's your favorite Wheel of Fortune contestant of all time? Yeah, that you like to come back. That's your all-time favorite. It's not
oh,
top.
that's my all-time favorite. I would probably have to say Robert Santoli. Um,
Mm,
as my as he's definitely um personally my he's my favorite player of all time that I I would definitely love to see him come back. Also, shout out to Robert if you happen to be watching this. um,
yeah.
and yeah.
Um, what advice would you give someone to be auditioning for Wheel of Fortune from this experience? What advice would you give?
um, as a Wheel of Fortune, like advice for
Any
um,
Wheel of Fortune fan that wants to apply to be on the show?
hmm, that is a good question. Any advice? I would definitely say it's a good time right now, like May, like close to the end of the season, like April, May, June. Um, really any time, but I applied in May, towards the end of season 36 at the time,
Okay.
to apply. Um, and I would be wary of adjectives in the puzzles, um, especially in the bonus round. They will try to use adjectives to try to trick you or to force a bonus round loss. Um,
Yeah.
Also, look out for letter combinations in the puzzles like TION, and um, among other combinations that are common, the and ing for what are you doing, that category in particular. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely practice with the Wheel of Fortune app, or any form of Wheel of Fortune video game version. Doesn't matter how old it is. um, Even if you have like the 1998 PC game, that works too. Um,
No class one. And then like, oh, Yeah.
Yeah. And what else? Um,
Or the Nintendo Switch version. Like,
yes. Yes, definitely the Nintendo Switch version, or the free play app. Um, Either one of those, any of those. Also, watch if you happen to be on a specific theme week. Watch previous episodes from past seasons to kind of get a feel for what the theme of the puzzles are going to be like, what kind of puzzles you might typically see, um, to kind of get a general idea. Um, and I think, also for the bonus round, make sure you don't pick consonants that you know are already like for a certain part of the puzzle that you already know. Use your bonus round picks to for parts of the puzzle that you are not sure of. And I think that's pretty much it. Anybody?
um, what other game shows could you see yourself appearing on?
um, Definitely Lingo. I can
Oh
see
boy,
myself.
here comes Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I see myself on Lingo, Press Your Luck.
Oh,
Um, yeah. And I think that's yeah, Lingo and Press Your Luck. Um, yeah.
um, what were your favorite Wheel of Fortune episodes growing up?
Oh, that is a good question. Definitely. Um, I think there was one episode from season 20.
Okay.
The person in the bonus round, he solved Jockey, and he won the $100,000. I think Byron is his name. Yeah,
Hmm.
that one was one of my favorites. The Gopher solve from a College Week episode from 2001.
Hmm.
That was also one of my favorites. Um, what else? Robert Santoli's episode from 2016. Um, and also Caitlin Burke's episode from 2010.
All right. Um, what do you like to take as Shaytek's Wheel of Fortune job when he retires?
Wait, can you repeat that?
What do you like to take back as Shaytek's job when he retires?
Oh yes. I absolutely would. It would be scary at first because
Have you
Pat has helped.
have you ever hosted a game show on YouTube before?
No, I don't think I have. I have not actually. But I have hosted in a Discord server. I do host a Wheel of Fortune there in that server. So yeah, I'm definitely am getting some hosting practice in. Um, it's a it'll be a very huge spot to fill because Pat has held that spot for 41 years now, and um,
100%.
yeah, definitely.
Maybe
And
maybe I should hire you on this channel to host something for experience. You never know. Um,
uh,
um, do you have any other favorite game shows you like to watch other than Wheel of Fortune?
um, let's see. I like to other outside of Wheel of Fortune. I like the Chuck Woolery version of Lingo, um, The Weakest Link, um, a little bit of what's that one game show? Um, I do watch a little bit of Jeopardy here and there. Price is Right, Deal or No Deal.
My
Um,
favorite of all time.
oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Um, what did you do with your Wheel of Fortune on both of your tape?
On both of them. So for the first time around, I had gave some money to my parents if they wanted to get anything. Um, I helped pay off my mom's credit card, and then I gave my dad some money, um, and then I got me a gaming laptop and
Mm,
went on a little technology shopping spree, um, and got me
yeah.
some tech stuff and yeah, and then I also ended up getting me I think a PS5 as well at the time when it had came out in 2020. So that was fun. And the second time around, I haven't received my winnings yet. Um, Probably within by September.
Oh,
Um,
so it takes longer than usual to get those winnings.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
um, yeah. Unless if you won like a car, like I did this time around, I did win a car. But I am planning on selling the Infinity just to get extra cash out of it and getting it. It's getting shipped um, from the LA dealer that Wheel works with, and then it'll be shipped to my area, and then calling, getting with the dealership, the local dealership, and seeing how much they're willing to give us cash wise for the car. So, um, yeah,
That's not the honest thing I would have done if I won a car that I have a car. I could sell it for money. It's money either
yeah,
way.
yeah. Mhm.
Um, what is your other than game show? What is your other interest? Is it watching sports? Is it playing other video games? What is other hobby?
Oh, my other hobbies.
Yeah.
Oh, well, dancing. I do dance videos. I sing. I'm also into astrology, and also a little bit of tarot here and there, as you kind of saw on my Instagram live earlier.
Yeah, that was a good interview.
Oh, yeah,
You talked about and we're supposed to get fresh air and all that. Of course, right now it's so and
yeah,
almost freeze. So get fresh air when that's the way. Um,
yeah.
um, why do you like to make your dance?
Look, can you repeat that? I'm sorry, kind of cut
Why
out.
why do you like to do dance?
Oh, oh man, it cut out again. Hang on.
Why like to do your
Oh,
dance videos?
oh. Oh, I like to do dance videos because I like moving around, and I've been doing dance for a long time, not professionally or anything like that, just as a hobby. It was a long time hobby of mine, and it's a good way to it's a fun way to move your body, and
Okay,
yeah.
very nice. What do you like to? What will you like to do growing up? What is your dream job?
um what did I like to do growing up? Was that, I
Well,
heard that.
oh, well, you can finish that question, but then after that, what is your dream job? You can answer
Oh,
both
my
of
dream.
those.
Oh, my dream job. My dream job. Definitely be a game show host. Is definitely my dream
Okay.
job. Um, whether it's for an already existing show like Wheel of Fortune, or maybe even a new one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but like definitely being a game show host is my dream job. Would love to take over for Pat once he retires, and um, yeah.
What other hobbies would you like to do other than making your dance videos? What other hobbies would you like to do?
um, I'm into. I usually do astrology. Um, and I also do tarot as well.
Okay,
And that's another hobby. Yeah.
very nice. Um, what do you have planned for future projects? Whether it be on Instagram, YouTube, like what projects do you have coming up like for this year?
Um, not not that nothing that I can think of. I hadn't really actually thought out that far for the year, for the rest of the year, but I've been pushing my dance video. I've been posting dance videos a lot more,
Okay,
and also posting some tarot content, and also a little bit of astrology content as well.
right.
Yeah.
Um, let's see what else can I ask you. What is trying to think about that because I have a lot of questions. Um, what version of Wheel of Fortune you like the most? Do you like the old Wheel of Fortune from like what decade is your favorite Wheel of Fortune?
Ooh, I would definitely say I want to say the early 90s,
Mm,
particularly I want to say season 7,
okay,
1989 and 1990, is my particular favorite season because of the theme song.
yeah,
At the time, that's my favorite one, the 1989 1992 theme. And I just love hearing that,
yeah,
literally. And it's just something about that time, that era, that was just so exciting. That just made Wheel of Fortune so exciting, and it
nice,
just I get happy every time I watch that particular time frame of Wheel of Fortune.
very cool. Do you watch any sports at all? Do you have a favorite sport to watch? If you do like watching sports,
No, I don't watch sports. I used to when I was younger, but I kind of grew out of it as I got a little older.
okay. What about your favorite video games other than Wheel of Fortune, of course? Like, what is your favorite video to play?
I'm mostly into racing games. Those are like my favorite kind.
Okay,
Need for Speed, Midnight Club, Forza, um, Test Drive, um, those type of games. Gran Turismo. Almost forgot about that one. And I'm also into arcade games as well. The arcade classics like Pac-Man, Galaga,
yeah,
Dig Dug, Galaga, Galaxian.
nice. So you like Mario Kart as one of your favorite racing games?
Um, I'm more into the
NASCAR.
yeah, the NAS, like the simulators, and like Gran Turismo, and also some of the arcade racers like Burnout and Midnight Club.
I do
And
like those uh arcade racing games to go to your arcade places. So those are fun to play.
oh yeah, and also yeah, Daytona 500, the Daytona one, yeah.
Um, and one final question.
Hmm.
Uh, what did you ask Pat and Vanna? Like, if you when you met Pat and Vanna, did you ask them any questions?
Um, yes, I did. I did ask Vanna, um, what was it like filming the FMV, the cutscenes for the video game versions of Wheel, and
Okay.
yeah, um, and she had confused it with her when she was hosting for Pat um Pat had the surgery and he was away from the show recovering, and Vanna had stepped in for him. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, so I was like the I think that was the only question that I'd asked Vanna. I didn't ask Pat anything.
okay.
Um, yeah.
Did they ask you any questions, like off the air?
Oh yeah, they asked. We talked about gameplay during both times, and I think the second time around, um, Pat had asked me, he's like, so working, and it's like, yeah, I'm working now, and
Okay.
like I'm not, I wasn't in school anymore. Uh, I withdrew, because I just felt that school wasn't for me, and
Yeah.
also, COVID on top of that, I was just like I don't even want to be here,
Yeah.
at the time. So, and yeah, and I know I mentioned Maggie, Pat's daughter, and Pat
Oh
had
yeah,
told
on your last episode, I think you mentioned her.
yeah, and Pat had told me that Maggie talks about me a lot. Um, oh,
Sorry, but don't worry. It's I'm at the corner. So there's a bicycle going out there. For goodness sakes.
oh, I was like, what the heck was that?
Sorry, continue on.
Uh,
What were you saying about Maggie?
I was gonna say Pat had told me that Maggie talks about me a lot. And she was actually supposed to be at the studio that day to do interviews and social media content
Okay.
with us, but she was actually finishing up law school at the time of the taping, so she had to attend classes and she couldn't be there. And that's what Pat had told me. So I was like,
Oh,
oh, yeah.
will you ever talk to her like in the near future to make things up? Or
Maybe if I end up coming back a third time for a Masters or a Goat tournament, then um,
yeah.
yeah, most definitely. She and I stay in contact on social media. Sometimes we follow each other on Instagram.
Okay. That's
Mhm.
one way to keep in contact.
Yeah.
Um, do you still keep in contact with Pat or Vanna? You know, since your last tapings, or you have their email or something?
Um. No.
Okay.
I haven't kept up with Pat and Vanna since the
I
tapings, but I probably should reach out to Vanna on Facebook.
I always wondered if they still like catch up with their contestants, you know, because they met them. I'm just curious if they still like talk to them, you know, since the taping. I'm always curious about that. Um, but yeah, that is gonna be it for this interview. But actually, I'll have a bonus question here. What game shows do you want to see brought back on TV before we end this up?
What game shows do I want to see back on TV?
Yes. Moving
Uh,
forward.
let's see. I'd like to see Greed come back. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I'd like to see Greed come back. I feel like that show, like had potential. Um, and
Yeah.
I just feel like it definitely, like, I just feel like Greed deserves a second chance. Like it felt like Greed should have lasted longer in its first run. Um, for sure. I think another one I'd like to see a game show format of Scrabble, like when back in the '80s and
Oh yeah.
when Lori, yeah, yeah.
I would like to see. I don't know if this will work, but I like to see Quasi Concentration or
Ooh,
Separation
yeah,
or one of those. Um, but that's that's what I have to pick.
yeah,
Um, and well, Deal No Deal is somewhat bringing back, but they're in like a survival thing. Which,
yeah. That's weird. Just
yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with that. But and by the way, thank you for everybody who. Well, I only have a few friends with Be Real, so thank you to Chris for having me on the website. So this episode is brought to you by Be Real. So there you go on that. But that's gonna be it for this episode. I want to thank everybody for watching this episode of 2,000 Hangouts. Any social media that you want to promote?
yes, you can follow me on social media, Christian Dixie 888. Um, and you can also find me on Facebook,
Okay.
TikTok. You can follow me there, C Dixie Dixie. And thank you for having me on.
You're welcome, and you're welcome to come on my any of my games or tapings or any of my shows at any time if you want. Or keep it.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome. And I want to thank everybody for watching this episode of Hangouts. I will see you all next week. Another great interview with Mr. Jared from Great Talk. So, thank you for that. Well, for watching, and have a good night.